Ever wondered why secure system design is crucial in our digital world? Well, think of it this way. We live in an era where our most valuable assets are not just physical but digital too. From personal photos to financial data, everything is stored in bits and bytes. It's like having a vault full of gold sitting in the heart of a bustling city. Secure system design is akin to the robust security system protecting that vault. It's the shield that defends our data from cyber threats. It's the guardian that maintains trust in systems, ensuring that your digital vault remains unbreached. This trust is what keeps businesses running and individuals safe in the online world. Secure system design is our first line of defense against potential breaches. It's a proactive approach to protect businesses and individuals from significant losses. Without secure system design, we expose ourselves to a myriad of potential threats. Now that we understand why secure system design is so important, what are some principles that guide it? Well, several principles can guide us on this journey. Let's dive right into them. First off, we have the principle of least privilege. This principle suggests that a user should have the minimum levels of access, or privileges, necessary to complete their tasks. This way, if an attacker compromises a user's account, they won't have free reign over the system. Next, we encounter fail-safe defaults. This principle operates on the belief that a system should, by default, deny access unless a user is explicitly granted permission. It's like a nightclub bouncer. If you're not on the list, you're not getting in. The economy of mechanism principle comes in third. It advocates for keeping systems as simple and small as possible. This reduces the chances of security breaches due to errors or oversights in complex systems. Then there's complete mediation. This principle ensures every access request to every object is checked for authorization. It's like a vigilant security guard always on the lookout. The open design principle is up next. It postulates that a system's security should not depend on the secrecy of its design or implementation. In other words, security through obscurity is not a good strategy. Separation of privilege is another key principle. This dictates that multiple conditions should be met before access is granted, providing an additional layer of security. Next, we have the least common mechanism principle. It suggests that mechanisms used to access resources should not be shared. This way, if one user's process has a vulnerability, it doesn't automatically put everyone else at risk. Last but not least, psychological acceptability. This principle reminds us that security measures should not make the system more difficult to use. User-friendly security is effective security. By adhering to these principles, we can create systems that are robust against potential threats. So, as we journey through the world of secure system design, let's keep these principles at the forefront of our minds. To understand the principles of secure system design better, let's examine the infamous Target data breach. In the winter of 2013, Target, a prominent American retail corporation, fell victim to one of the most significant data breaches in history. Hackers made off with the payment card information of approximately 40 million customers and personal data of nearly 70 million. But how did this happen? The breach was not a result of sophisticated hacking techniques. Instead, it was a failure in secure system design. The intruders initially gained access through a third-party HVAC vendor that had a network connection to Target systems. This third-party vendor was a weak link in the security chain. In terms of secure system design, this is a classic example of a failure to implement the principle of least privilege. This principle suggests that every module, such as a process, a user, or a program, must be able to access only the information and resources necessary for its legitimate purpose. If Target had properly implemented this principle, the HVAC vendor would not have had unnecessary access to sensitive areas of Target's network. Another principle of secure system design that was overlooked is defense in depth. This principle suggests multiple layers of security to protect the system. Even if one layer is breached, others remain to provide protection. Had Target employed this principle, the attackers might have been stopped at other security checkpoints even after gaining initial access. Lastly, there was a lack of proper intrusion detection systems. A robust intrusion detection system would have identified the unusual network activities and alerted the security team. This could have minimized the damage or even prevented the breach altogether. The Target breach cost the company over $200 million in settlements, not to mention the severe damage to its reputation. Had they adhered to the principles of secure system design, this breach could have been avoided. This case study serves as a harsh reminder of the consequences of neglecting secure system design. So, what are the key takeaways from our discussion on secure system design? Secure system design is both an art and a science, a delicate balance between functionality and security. It's not just about creating a system that works well, but also one that can stand up to the plethora of threats that exist in our increasingly digital world. Firstly, let's reiterate the importance of secure system design. It's like the invisible armor that protects our data and privacy, shielding us from the constant barrage of cyber threats. Without it, our sensitive information, from personal details to financial transactions, would be left vulnerable, ripe for the picking by malicious actors. Moving on to the principles of secure system design, remember, each is like a piece in a jigsaw puzzle, all working together to create a holistic picture of security. Let's quickly recap them. 1. Minimize attack surface area. This involves limiting the amount of software, data, and functionality exposed to potential attackers. 1. Establish secure defaults. Systems should be secure out of the box, with the most secure settings as the default. 1. Principle of least privilege. Only the minimum necessary rights should be granted to perform a function, limiting the damage in case of a breach. 1. Principle of defense in depth. Multiple layers of security controls should be implemented, so if one fails, others can still protect the system. 1. Fail securely. When a system fails, it should do so in a manner that maintains security, not jeopardizing it. Taking these principles into account during system design can help prevent disastrous breaches, like the infamous Target case we discussed earlier. But remember, secure system design is not a static process. It's a continuous journey of improvement and adaptation in response to evolving threats. It requires a proactive mindset, constantly staying a step ahead of potential vulnerabilities and exploits. Remember, secure system design is not an option, but a necessity in our increasingly digital world. So, let's design with security at the forefront, not as an afterthought, and create systems resilient enough to withstand the digital onslaught.